I've talked before about the pop-in stretch revelation that I had. For those of you who may be new to the show, I want to tell that story just really quick again because it's so relevant. The number of things in our life that are literally just one click of the dial away from success. Just one minor change, one tweak, if you will, from what we're doing right now to what we should be doing or what we must be doing or what we could be doing, that makes all the difference in the world. There was a season that we had our own, well, we still have it, DJ business, and I didn't want to go to the store and buy bundles of shirts for marketing and branding, and I wasn't sure on exactly which slogans or phrases or photos or logos that I wanted to use because I had some different ideas that I thought worked in different markets, so I wanted to kind of be able to test market them. So I bought some t-shirts and some iron-on transfers at the local big box store, and I came home and I put the transfer on the shirt and I ironed it on with my regular iron and pulled it off, and as I looked, I had a big giant shiny square box around a fairly medium-sized logo, and this big shiny box just looked tacky. And I thought, well, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I followed the instructions a little more closely, and I trimmed within 1/4 of an inch, and then it started to peel off the corners, and it would last a day or two. And the first time you wore the shirt, it was all distorted and just hideous, and it just didn't look very good. So I thought, well, it's got to be the quality of the t-shirts. So I bought higher quality t-shirts. I made quite an investment in high quality t-shirts, and I didn't change anything. So I thought, well, it's got to be the heat of the iron. And so I went on Craigslist and I found a used t-shirt press that was all the way up to 550 degrees. And so I bought that and I brought it home, and nope, same results. So, well, it must be, if it's not the iron and it's not the shirt, it's got to be the last thing involved. That's the transfer, right? So I invested in 1,000 because you can't buy a box of 10 or 100. You know, if you go to the box stores, you can buy 10 or 100 transfers, light colors or dark colors. But to get the professional ones, you can only buy 1,000 of them at a time. So I bought 1,000 of them. And so I come home with my 1,000 t-shirt transfers and my high quality t-shirts and my professional press, and I start making t-shirts. And I'm getting the same results. So I've changed all of the things I can think to change. I've changed the press. I've changed the heat of the temperature. I've changed the quality of the t-shirts. I've changed the type of ink. I've changed the quality of the transfers, and I'm still not getting anything better. And so after battling with this and wasting t-shirt after t-shirt and transfer after transfer and ink cartridge after ink cartridge, I finally called the guy that I bought the professional t-shirt transfers from, and I said, listen, this isn't working. Now, mind you, before I called him, I went to every professional t-shirt place that I could get my hands on, and I asked them the question, you know, I'm doing these things and getting these results, and guess what kind of answers I got from them? Well, you should just bring it to us. You should let us do it for you. We are professionals for a reason. Does that sound familiar? See, I don't care what industry you're in or what kind of do-it-yourself project you're working on or what kind of coach you're looking to hire. There are many people out there who will simply say, you should let me do it for you because I can do it better. And what they're really saying is, because I can make money off of you not knowing. There are a lot of coaches out there who kind of have that same mentality. A lot of consultants out there who have that kind of mentality. They will teach you just enough to realize you cannot do it on your own, and then they kind of bait you into a long-term process with them. And you realize that without them, you have no idea what you're doing. They've given you all the bits and pieces of how to make a pizza, but you don't know how to do it. Honestly, I only do that to people who refuse to pay. People who want to pick my brain, I'll give you the entire swing set, all the pieces in the box, and no instructions. When you're a paid client, I'm going to give you the fastest set of instructions to finish the process. I want you to be able to get it done right as soon as possible. I've had coaching clients who have walked through the entire training process of transforming stories and transforming lives in 2 sessions and 2 follow-up phone calls. And I've had some that have worked on it for 6 months. It's really about the pace that you want to move at, but I'm not going to hide answers from you. I'm not going to keep you from getting there. The only restriction is, are you willing to pay for what I've spent so much time with knowledge, searching, and the expense and the challenge and the problems. And so I was experiencing the same thing. It's a learning process. I couldn't get the t-shirts right. And I would go to various people in the industry and ask for help, and nobody wanted to help me. Everybody wanted the money to do it for me. So finally I called the old man who sold me the transfers. And he gets on the phone and he says, well, did you pop and stretch it? I said, did I who's he what's it? I just want to return my transfers because obviously this isn't working. I've wasted a lot of ink and a lot of t-shirts. And he repeated again, did you pop and stretch it? I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, oh, okay, I see the problem. And at this point, I'm a little offended. I'm thinking, oh, I don't see a problem. I just see that your transfers are crap and I want my money back. He said, well, do you have another t-shirt and a transfer ready to go? I said, I do. I have another one that I printed, but I'm reluctant to waste yet another shirt on it. He said, well, just trust me and follow the instructions. And I'm like, well, the instructions that I have don't include anything other than what I'm doing. I've read them in detail over and over to make sure of it. He said, well, just listen to me on the phone then. I said, all right. So he said, put you another t-shirt on there. And before you lay the transfer down, pull that platen down and flatten that shirt out. Make sure it's all nice and smooth and it's plenty hot before you start. And I thought, plenty hot before? Well, I've never done that part before. There's nothing in any of the instructions that say to get the fabric hot before you put the transfer on it. That's an interesting aspect. So I got the shirt nice and hot before I started and laid the transfer on it. And he said, now pull that platen down. We're going to count to 35. And I'm thinking, 35? I've been doing like 15 or 20 and they're smoking. So here we are going to 35 seconds. And he's still chatting with me on the phone. We're just talking about the breeze, etc. And I'm starting to see smoke coming off this shirt. I'm getting a little bit worried. I'm thinking it's going to burst into flame at any minute. He says, now you got to listen really close. When we get to that 35 seconds, I want you to grab that shirt by its sleeves. And I'm thinking, this old man's just crazy. See, I've burned these transfers onto these shirts and I've tried to pull them off with tweezers and just got confetti. I've stuck them on there and had them just fall off, but there's no transfer left on the shirt. It's all still on the paper. I've had every variation. I had one that we finally got the transfer to stick on the shirt really well. We soaked that thing in the bathtub for days and couldn't get the rest of the paper off of the transfer. It was just all stuck as one big blob. No success. And we tried everything that I could think of. So he says, when you lift the platen, I want you to grab that t-shirt by both sleeves and pull it as hard as you can. And I went, really? So I lifted the shirt and I went, poof. And the minute I pulled it, that little piece of paper that we have shredded with a knife, with tweezers, with pliers, with everything, soaked it in water to get out, just went right to the ground. I'm like, are you kidding me? All this time, all those shirts that we wasted, it was that simple. Pull on the sleeves. He said, now how does it look? I said, well, the paper came off. That's brilliant. But now the whole thing is distorted. He said, all right, now what you got to do is grab it and pull it in every direction until the image looks like it's supposed to again. So I pull it as far as I could in every direction. I get that it's not distorted anymore. So he said, now just give it a second to cool off. And so we chatted for another 30 seconds or so. He said, now I want you to look really close. Do you see any of that shiny anymore? I said, no, I don't see any shiny. He said, look really close. What do you see? And so I put it right up to my face and I looked really close. And what I could see is that where the fabric was woven together, the color was actually on every piece of fabric, under and over. It didn't sit on the surface anymore like a shiny stick-on label. It actually, the fabric was actually now colored with the transfer in all the places that it was supposed to be. And I thought, that's pretty fascinating. He said, yeah, when you pop it like that, it causes the fabric to change tension and it makes the transfer let go. But when you stretch it, all of the particles of the transfer that carry the ink either soak in or flake off. And if they soak in, then your transfer stays intact. And if they flake off, that means you didn't have it hot enough. One tweak, 2 tiny steps, hundreds of dollars wasted on t-shirts, on transfers, on irons, the whole 9 yards that I wasted time and money and effort and quality on. because I didn't know those 2 steps. It was one tiny little tweak, one little adjustment of the dial. And I want to ask you in your business, in your life, maybe it's your relationships. Maybe it's the way you present your organization. Maybe it's the way you tell your story. Maybe it's the way you brand your organization or your company. Maybe it's the clients that you've selected to be your clients. Is there one little tweak of the dial? One group of customers that if you stopped serving them and started serving someone else instead, it would make all the difference in your financial position? Is there one little thing you're doing wrong in a relationship that maybe just a tiny little tweak in the way you say something or hear something or believe something about yourself or your partner would change everything? Is it in your spiritual journey that one little tweak toward gratitude? To say thank you for everything I have, even for the rain, even for the storms. Thank you for everything I have, so that gratitude opens the door for more. See, we forget sometimes in the grand scheme of things that it's the little things that matter. The little things you do each day, or the little things you fail to do each day, that can make the biggest difference in the outcome. You can land a plane on a runway a mile long. And if when you land, you're off by 2 degrees at the other end of that runway, averaging 350 miles an hour, that 2 degrees off puts you in the ditch, puts you off the runway. It puts every life on that plane at risk of peril. 2 degrees. Not a big difference. You've probably seen the video that 2 degrees is the difference between hot water and boiling. It's a significant difference in outcome, an insignificant difference in change. What's the one tweak in your life? I would love to see in the comments below. Someone just shared, right? All of you shared. What is the one tweak that you made in your life that made all the difference? What was the one thing you stopped doing, or the one thing you started doing that you'd never done before that made all the difference in the success of your business and the success of your relationships, in the growth of your ideas, in your learning process? What's the one thing you started doing differently that changed everything? Will you share those ideas with us? Maybe your one thing could change someone else's life as well. Maybe if you could just chime in with a little comment and say, this is what I did differently. This is the difference it made. Maybe that one thing could save someone else's career, change their destiny, improve the quality of their relationships. Would you share it? That's my challenge for you today. Share the idea that changed everything for you. One simple tweak. I hope you will. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.